The generals are ready to spill some blood as we finally start the long-awaited battle of Qin versus Not Zhao. The Han generals are eager in anticipation. The rookies are ready to level up and evolve. Shin's ready to take his military career to the next level and truly stamp his name in history in a fashion he's never done so before, one befitting of the title of Vice General. And yes, even Tou's ready to finally do something. There's a lot of intrigue as to what could happen, a lot of factors that are unknowns right now, and this chapter did a good job of answering a lot of questions, giving us a broad scope of the overall situation in short time, also in a way that makes both sides look formidable, and moving along to a more interesting all or nothing clash that promises that high octane kingdom action, and given that it's kingdom, more than likely some interesting twists and turns to a clash that could honestly be over in record time. Like in Hongo, the prospect of not knowing how long a war will last or how competitive it'll be is a very interesting one in a series that depends on dynamic battles to make up for how sameish the plot can feel in ways, especially when Kingdom seemed to prefer dragging things out more and more as the story went along. And unlike the Gyo arc, where it felt like major events can take place and everyone just regroups, cuts losses, and are ready to do it all again the next day, there will be heavy consequences for what's about to go down. And seeing things like Tou making early moves like Oki would, Shin making his move as well, as he's embracing his role as Vice General and ready to finally take out a whole ass state, to Rakuan not being shook in the slightest, seeming like everything is under his control. Seeing him being so comfortable in the face of a force that really is formidable, even considering they've yet to truly unleash. It's very exciting. The arc can end up being a big letdown in ways like Hongo was. A shorter arc with quicker, more definitive clashes can definitely have its downsides if it's not written correctly, but right now this is giving coalition vibes. Not in scope or epicness or excitement, just in the fact that it feels like a classic kingdom battle. I expect things to move at a fast pace, with the focus being mostly on the fighting, and the arc just being fun to read, not needing any greater context to truly appreciate it. Just a classic kingdom good time, which I think we're long overdue for, as the recent previous arcs all have asterisks to them to various degrees, which bothered some people more than others and lowered some people's ranking of the arcs or maybe even the series as a whole more than others. But I think this one will hit. It will hit in general. It'll hit for the people wanting a different feeling type of battle. It'll hit for the people that want certain characters and factions to deservedly get more shine and attention than they've been getting. And it'll hit for people who want the prospect of taking out a whole ass state to feel special and to feel like Shin truly did elevate himself and get a fantastic moment and was responsible for shifting the dynamic of the entire series, the entirety of China, just based off his whims and the classic Shin stubbornness. We're moving on to the next stage with this one. We start off the chapter with the generals having finished their speeches and being in the process of sending their first waves out and, testing the waters. We can just move on past the fact that Tou's rebuttal to that cold as fuck Han declaration, his awe-inspiring speech, the culmination of all the experience he's gone throughout his decorated life, just leads to him going on a charade, basically just saying, "Oh yeah, well, y'all niggas haven't fought anyone," a low-level BDA Discord argument. Then showing how much of a crafty vet he is by immediately turning the attention on Shin right after that, relying on what Shin's done and Shin's achievements and Shin's credibility, Shin's aura. I peep game, so that was very intelligent. That's that experience at work right there, but we can move on past that since we weren't really expecting Tou to go that route, but in hindsight, it's obvious he would, so no point in talking about it. But yeah, the generals send the first wave, and it's apparent pretty early on that Han has a big advantage in cohesion and tactics. One you'd expect given the setup to this battle, but one that poses interesting questions as to the outcome of this battle, and it's already had a pretty big impact. Both kin armies had to lather on their manpower and fight seriously pretty much right from the start to execute their goals in winning the battle in the fashion they need to. And maybe this won't have a big impact later on as the war drags on, but right now it is a good start and has done a good job of showcasing the strength of the Han army. Plenty of people, as you'd expect, downplayed Rakuan and Mini Mobu, but they've already been pretty impressive and have shown to be competent enough to rightly push your inclination toward the direction of them being ready for this all-out attack and being ready to counter it. Which who knows what that'll look like and how disastrous that could be for Kin, but it's cool seeing so early on in the battle, first chapter of the actual fighting, and we already have a good idea of how strong the opposition is. Tou pretty much confirmed Rakuan, the guy we were questioning if he's even Fire Dragon's level, pretty much confirmed he's Tou's equal. A decent amount of time has passed since the fighting first started, enough to get a good gauge of how the armies match up, just manpower wise. We already know we need to ramp things up pretty quickly and kick the war into second gear. The newbies are being set up to evolve. We got our grand strategy down, and Tou's already ready to run away. There wasn't one moment of this chapter that was boring, and it's about to get a whole lot more exciting on top of that. So it's a great time to be a Kingdom fan, or to get back into the series. But I do want to talk about two major moments. Tou's plan, which is, boy oh boy, there's no way out of this one. Honestly, I could not have predicted Tou's grand plan being a bootleg version of Bayo Mobu's plan if I tried. I mean, it makes sense. Tou's strategy before this was a bootleg version of Osun's Locust strategy. He's a bootleg version of Oki, and now he's giving us his bootleg version of Mobu's type of tactics, which, let me guess, the Tou fans will say it's genius this time. They always downplay Mobu's intelligence, like the nigga ain't exceptionally smart or something. Like, the first word that comes to my mind when I think about Mobu is profound, but most of the fan base seems to think otherwise. And well, would you look at that? Har showing the underlying genius of brute strength methods yet again, as he's done time and time again in the story. And the Tou fanboys have no chance but to acknowledge it. To acknowledge its complexity this time. I mean, it does make sense that Oki had to go over Mobu's plan to Tou and Bayo, explain it in kindergarten terms like Tai would say, so Tou would understand it. And it just got me thinking, like, man, Mobu been ahead of the curve. He was pulling out extremely impressive strategies since Bayo. That shit's crazy. But it does make sense that this is what he went for. Not many options at his disposal, and I like the idea of sometimes a simpler option being a smarter one. Kingdom fans have a lot of brain rot when it comes to thinking there's always some way to mega mind yourself past every situation, applying no limits fallacies, and I like how Kingdom's keeping it grounded right now and giving us something more simple yet satisfying and super hype, and with the intrigue to end it off too. Like how I said this arc reminded me of Coalition, of Classic Kingdom, this moment reminded me of Classic Kingdom. Tou making a move early on like Oki would, making sure to grab the battle by its balls and enforce his will. That's exactly what I wanted to see out of Tou, given his lack of feats and moments leading up to this, and the cool Oki comparisons that he has. It's nice to see what people have frankly been waiting to see from Tou since the start. A general who will lead and fight in a way that's reminiscent of Oki, and will give us this feeling like Oki's still here with us in a way. So, let's see what Lo can do.